What's up, everybody? It's AJ with eTrailer.com. Today we're going to be checking out the Hollywood Racks Destination E. It's going to be an e-bike bike rack, and we're going to be showing it to you on a 2017 Toyota RAV4. So since it's an e-bike carrier, it's going to be a platform style bike rack as well. You also get a ramp. It's pretty heavy duty. It's more heavy duty than the on-ramp one or the Thule Easy Fold ramp, where it has the 3-section folds up. This is much more heavier and actually wider too, so it's gonna be helpful for loading and unloading your bike. And we're gonna check that out in a little bit when we go to unload the bike, but I'm gonna set it aside for now so we can take a look at how this holds the bike in place. We got the clamp here that's at the top. It's gonna hold it by the frame, which is helpful because a lot of e-bikes have different frames that kind of swoop down like this, and sometimes it's hard to get them on those other style bike racks, like a hang style bike rack. It's not going to work as well. It's not going to sit right. So this clamp makes it far easier for way more different style frames. So not only e-bikes, but of course you can put mountain bikes on here or road bikes. Don't necessarily recommend carbon fiber bikes just because they could damage that frame. That's kind of delicate. If it held by the wheel, it'd probably be fine, but since it holds it by the frame, you definitely want to leave it alone there. Now you do have a second arm with it. We just don't have it on there right now because when you have only one bike, you don't really need it, and it attaches pretty easily. You got a lever you can throw here that locks it in place, but with it unlocked and the dial undone, you can push on it and it opens up that grabber. You can latch it right on there. Throw that lever so it's in place, and then you have this here, but this is why we're not leaving it on right now, because if you only are using one bike, it's gonna kind of hang there on the frame, and we don't like that. Another way it holds the bikes so steady is because it's going to have 3 wheel straps, which is different than other bike racks. You can see we got 2 on the front tires, just helping hold this in place. There's not a lot of movement there with the bike. I'll shake the whole bike rack here and show you. There's not a lot of movement or rattling there, so that's going to definitely help hold that in place. And we come along to the back side here. There's 1 on the back tire, and it's the same. It's going to help hold that in place and keep it from rocking back and forth. Now before we move the bike, this does have one extra feature. They can actually tilt away with the bikes loaded, so that's pretty awesome. So we're gonna go ahead and go through that right now. So we're gonna come around the back. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna loosen up this hand knob. Just unscrew that, and then you can push it forward. And one of the nice things about this is when you push it forward, it doesn't automatically release it and fall down. So I like that without any hands. I don't have to worry about it tilting away on me. I'm just gonna push it back, and it tilts completely away from the back of the vehicle, giving us back hatch access. Just in case we forget to throw something in there or forgot to get something out, we don't have to remove the whole rack and bike to get to it. And then bring it back up. It's pretty easy too. You just grab it by the arm here. I suggest maybe putting your fingers here just to help. Lift it up, right back into place. Put that hand knob back in there and tighten it down. So something to keep in mind with what kind of bikes you want to put on here, it's going to work with a max wheelbase of 50 inches, and it's also going to be able to handle 70 pounds per bike, so that's going to be 70 pounds and then 70 pounds for this bike. So just keep that in mind with what bikes you want to throw up on here to haul. Now let's go ahead and remove the bike. So we're going to start with the straps here at the bottom. You just push in on these buttons on the tab and releases the strap. So we're going to do that on each one, both of them here on the front, and then the one on the back as well. Now the last thing would be undo the clamp here. So we're going to undo the safety strap that's included. So it's just a hook and loop strap that goes around just as a secondary, just in case you didn't tighten this enough or something happens. There's something still holding it. You can turn this knob here, and it's going to release the clamp. It's actually got a built-in lock too, so if you lock that up, it can free spin, and then nobody can mess with it, so it locks your bikes to the rack, so that's pretty nice as well. So just undo this, and then lift the clamp up and out of the way, and then you can just roll your bike down off the ramp. So I suggest keeping one hand underneath the seat and one on the handlebars, and we're gonna come down. Now you gotta lean it backwards just a little bit to get those pedals out of the way. You don't want the pedals hit the arm, and keep that front wheel straight so it just comes down on the ramp like that. Now we're running out of space here in the studio, but you can see how well the ramp worked. Now I'm gonna have to lift it up and just walk it to the side. Now with the bike removed, we can look a little bit closer at the cradles itself. So you got the middle, it's gonna be for road bike tires. You can see that middle line there. It gets a little bit bigger for mountain bike tires, and then expands quite a bit for even fat tire bikes as well. It's the same with the ramp. The ramp's gonna work with those also. and it's really easy to set up. I said we're going to talk about that a little bit later. You see, you just set it into place here, and it goes right and attaches. I can kick it back and forth a little bit, but it's not going to fall off on you, so that's pretty nice. And then on the back side is the knob that you can loosen up, and you can adjust the length of this for wherever you need. So this is probably good for storage. You can tighten this up and throw it in your vehicle, but just in case you're at some kind of height where you don't need the full extension, you need somewhere in between, you can actually adjust that and make it work with whatever terrain or steepness you need. And now it's not used, just go ahead and replace the straps, put them back the way they were, just to keep it nice and neat. Another use for the safety strap will be run it through here on our clamp and just go ahead and attach it to the side arm. That way it helps it keep in place. Now let's get some measurements real quick. We're going to go from the bumper out to the end of the bike rack. It's going to be right there about 32.5 inches. So it sticks out quite a bit. Now you can also fold it up towards the vehicle, and we'll show you how to do that in a second, but let's go ahead and get a measurement for ground clearance before we do that. This one, your hitch is kind of high on your RAV4, so I don't think you'll have any problems. So if we come to the end here and measure, it's going to be about 20.5 inches. There's like a nut down here that sticks out a little bit more. And then if you go to the bottom of the platform, it'll be about 18 inches. So it's got plenty of a rise in there. You shouldn't have any issues, but we do like to warn everybody, watch out when you're going up those steep driveways or hills. Now we're going to go ahead and fold down the arms so we can actually fold the whole bike rack up against the vehicle. So we're going to come here, undo the straps on the sides, which helps hold those levers in so we can release the levers as well. And then bring the arms down like that. Then we can throw those levers back on the sides this time, restrap them down. Doesn't have to be super tight or anything, just make sure they holds in place. So bring it back around and attach a strap there. So the next thing we want to do is pop that clip there, and then we'll remove this pin. It does help to lift up on the end of the bike rack, just makes it a little easier to remove that pin. And you can let go, you don't have to worry about it falling back or anything. This is only the part that brings it up. So bring it up towards the back of your RAV4, stops about there. That way you know it's lined up again, and we'll replace that pin and clip. Now that's folded up, let's get a measurement and see how much it sticks out. From the bumper to the very end, it's going to be 15.5 inches. So that saves you a bunch of space. So good for if you're pulling in your garage, you don't want to unload the bike rack itself, you just can throw it up there. It'll take up less space, or even in tight parking spots, you can fold it up and it'll help you out. Now it being so easy to fold up and down, I'm going to bring it back down to show you another trick. If the bike's not loaded and you need to get to the back of your RAV4 still, with the arms folded down like this, you can still bring the back hatch up and get to the back, whatever you need out of there. With it folded up against the back of your RAV4, you can see it will cover up a little of the back here. The backup camera for sure will be covered up, so just keep that in mind. Even if there's a bike on it's folded out, you will lose access to that. The bike can stick up a little bit and cover the taillights. You have a reflector strip here that's going to help reflect that, so if you are at night and driving around at nighttime, somebody comes up behind you, the lights are going to hit that and they'll still see that there's something behind your vehicle. Down here at the shank of the bike rack, I just want to show you, it's got an anti-rattle device built in, so I can shake the whole vehicle back and forth, and it's really easy to use. So you just have this handle the backside, unscrew it. So about there, you can see, look how much wobble back and forth that has without the anti-rattle. So I like that it's really easy to do, and the handles, there's a lot of handle there to pull on to get it really tight here. So what it does is pull this pin super tight, and then it helps just take all that shake and play out. Now here it comes with a pin and a lock, so that's nice. So not only can you lock the knobs up top so the bikes can be locked to the bike rack, you can lock the rack to the hitch. So that's gonna be helpful, that nobody can mess with any of this stuff when you're not around. So you just insert the key, completely turn it around, and then you can pop the lock off and remove the pin. So it's very easy to do. You don't need any tools either, so I like that. It makes it easier to load and unload the bike rack. Another thing that really helps it out is if you look at this bump here, that's gonna help you line up on the first try every time. So if I go to remove the bike rack, slide back in, I know once it hits there, that pinhole is gonna be lined up on the hitch, and I can just put the pin in really easily. I don't have to look to the side and see if it's lined up several times as I move this back and forth.
Here on our test course, we'll start by going through the slalom. This is going to show us the side-to-side action, which simulates turning corners and evasive maneuvers. Then we get to the alternating speed bumps. We'll see the twisting action. This will simulate hitting a curb or pothole or driving on uneven pavement. Then we'll go over the full speed bumps, and we can see the up and down action. This will be like driving in and out of a parking lot, garage, or a driveway.
Overall, really like this bike rack. I think it's really helpful for those e-bikes. That ramp is really sturdy and easy to use, and I like how nice and tight it stays on the vehicle. So I think this one is a really good choice. Well, thanks for hanging out, and I hope this helped.